Welcome to the start of another chaotic project vlog. This time I'll be knitting with this. This is rerum natura Antigone. It's 100% linen yarn in the color Mistral, and there are around 260 meters for 100 grams. So I have 3 of these balls, and my plan is to knit my mom a loose fitting large gauge cardigan. And I think I'm going to be knitting the home cardigan by Caidree. I tried another pattern before that was on a 9mm gauge, which is a US 13, and that was just way too big. And the home cardigan is for a bulky weight yarn. It has a 15 stitch gauge for 4 inches. And I think that one is knit on a 6mm gauge, and I think that will be much more doable from my pseudo swatch from this feather ball I had. So that's what I'll be doing, and I hope this works out. It's been a couple of hours. This is the first check-in, and it's looking pretty loose on this. The recommended needle size for this yarn is 3 to 4 millimeters, so it makes sense if I'm using a 6mm size. It's double the size, and it's a pretty loose gauge, but this is what my mom wanted. I'm making the size medium, and I have, I think, around 30 more rows to go for the back yoke, and it's just a big rectangle until the shoulder is joined at the back. So I'll just keep going with it. I hope that it'll block out well and it'll look less fishnetty, and then we'll see. My sister and my brother-in-law took the kids out to the farmer's market, so that's really nice of them. When we're outside and sitting in the backyard and stuff, when they're playing, it's always a gamble if I want to start a new row or even do a few stitches, because I don't know and how long that's going to last, just because playing outside, there are just a lot of factors. But the thing is with this yarn, it slides off the needle so fast, so it's so slippery, not because of the needle itself, I think, because this is the forte, so I think this part is wood, so it's not like it's super slippery or super slick, but just because it's on such a large gauge and the yarn is so thin compared to the gauge, and so it's not my favorite knitting like this, knitting with such, it looks, you know, you can see through it. It's not my favorite, but I'm doing it for my mom, and my mom says she liked it, and so we'll continue on. She's coming in a few days, so there's more than a week, but less than a couple of days, or it's less than 2 weeks, more than a week. So I have to finish this, or I would like to finish it by then, even though she said I could take my time. I'm not sure if she's going to be wearing it here because, or in Korea or wherever, but I'm excited that I'll be able to give this to her hopefully by then. So that's more motivation for me to work on it. I started pulling from the middle because I liked it, but then the rest of the skein kind of just came apart, and I think it's just linen yarn is just super slippery. There's not a ton of grip to it, so hopefully it won't get too tangled, and I'll just have to keep an eye on it. I think I might end up putting it in a Ziploc bag so it doesn't get jostled any more than it already has. And yeah, I think that overall I'm not even deep into the project. I can't even say anything about the pattern. I think the pattern is fine. And if I was using a bulky yarn, I think this would be really nice actually. But because I am using such a thin yarn on such a loose gauge, I'm not enjoying it as much as I have in my previous projects. So I think that's just more motivation to get this done. And it's knitting up so quickly because it is on a loose gauge. So that's just more motivation to get this done quickly. And then so I can move on to some of the projects that I am super excited about. I picked up for the right shoulder, and I did the short rows that are up top here to increase for the neck, and then now I have to start the increases for the V of the cardigan. I think the short rows I thought would be super messy because it is such a loose gauge, but I think it's looking okay because they all line against the shoulder. And my pickup also, I think I was quite conscious on where I picked up, so I picked up between each stitch, and I think it was all right. So hopefully the Make One Rights will also not look too messy. Good morning, I'm just popping up to do a small update. Not much has changed from last night, but I have started for my increases, and I don't think the increases are super visible, so they do look okay, I think. And I just have to do a bunch of them before I can start doing the other side. It's just about an hour later and I am done the increases for the right side. So I now have to work on the left side. And I did change because the tank top before was just too constricting. I've just completed the left front panel and now I have to join it in the round to just do stockinette all the way down the body. I currently have around 38 grams of the first ball still left, so we'll see how far that gets us. I'm at a point now where the yarn has gotten so tangled that it's not coming out, and I'm not sure if you could tell the dust that's coming out from this yarn. Overall, I am really liking it. I think in terms of linen yarns, it is quite soft. It's not that crunchy. It doesn't hurt my hand or anything. And my problem that I'm having with this garment is I'm knitting it at such a loose gauge, and I think that has issues with itself because I just have to be really mindful that I don't drop any single stitch because, you know, there is no weaving in ends here. That won't show through because it is so loose. But all together, the yarn itself has been really nice to work with. Actually, it's 5 small thin strands of linen plied together, and the ply is quite nice, and my yarn isn't catching on anything, so that's nice. And I hope it will also get even softer than it currently is. The only thing is just this whole tangled situation. So from the next one, I know that I should just pull from the outside. And right now I will try to just roll up the yarn that I do have from either sides, because I think I don't want to cut the yarn because, again, weaving in ends I don't think is going to be easy with this project. I just spent the last hour winding my yarn, but I have to say that this yarn, because it's linen, it's not grippy at all, so it was quite easy to get it untangled, and I didn't have to break anything, which is really nice because when it's wool, the fibers do tend to felt and kind of stick to each other. There was none of that, so as soon as I was able to find where it was knotted, I was able to pull the ball through and get it untangled. I have to go out now to have dinner with Stella at Milk Enthusiast, but I am almost done this ball of yarn, and so I wanted to give it a try on. So this is what it currently looks like. I think that it's actually looking really great when it's on. I did stretch out one side versus the other. I'm not sure which side. I think I stretched out this side like this so that the stitches would be a little more even, but I think a lot of it will also block more even. But since it is linen yarn, I'm not expecting it to be completely even. I'm not rolling out or anything. It's just that, you know, my stitches aren't super even. I don't know. My stitches are uneven, I guess. They're some of them are bigger than others, and these are probably the places I had to stop because the kids were getting in some kind of trouble. But I will make it longer, probably around this length, before I start for the hem, because I know that my mom doesn't like things that are super cropped. And I think once I'm done this ball, of course, I'll start for the sleeves again. And oh, I forgot to mention, I've been making these fish stitch markers too, or progress keepers rather, and I think they're very cute. So this is that. Good morning, it's 5:30. I don't have much of an update from yesterday. My baby decided to wake up at 4:30 today, thank you, and not go back to sleep. So I guess this is what we're doing today. It's Saturday. I want to get this done this weekend, and I think I can because it's working up so quickly since it's on such a large gauge. And that's really the nice thing about summer knits, is that it's either short, a tank top, cropped, or I feel like it, in my case at least, it has a really large gauge. It's nothing super heavy. So I feel like it's working up everything's working up so quickly. And so I just want to let you know that I'm going to start working on the sleeves. I hope I'm pretty cohesive today, but we'll see. All right, so it's 7 a.m. now and everybody is asleep. So my baby just is going for her nap. She was quite tired. And I wanted to show you that I picked up for the sleeves. You can tell where I picked up because there is a darker line here because you can see through the stitches, but that's to be expected in a garment like this. I don't think I mentioned that the original pattern, you're supposed to knit it in a 6.5 millimeter needle, which is a US 10.5, and I don't have a US 10.5, hence why I'm using a US 10, which is a 6mm needle, and I don't think that the gauge is super different on a 6 versus a 6.5. One thing I want to change is that the ribbing is quite long since it is such a wintry garment, but to match more of the summer vibes, I think I'm going to shorten the ribbing, and also then I'd have to do less ribbing, so that's always a plus in my books. And I'm still really enjoying working with this yarn. Even the gauge, I think I'm getting more used to, so that's great. The yarn, I have the graphite color, so I really want to work with that now since this linen yarn is quite soft, the ply is good, nothing splitting, and I will continue to update you as I get more progress. It's just about 9:30, everybody's still asleep, and this is where my sleeve is. I think that this is a good length for my mom. I'm not sure if it will stretch out. I'm sure it will stretch a little bit with wash, with blocking, but I did the same thing where I pulled on the yarn a bit because I didn't want it to become too long. I did 11 decreases and I decreased every 6 rounds instead of what was suggested in the pattern. And I just did 6 rounds of ribbing before doing Italian bind off. And so I'm happy that it's a 1x1 rib because I wasn't sure what type of bind off I would do otherwise, but I think this looks pretty good for what she wants, and I'll do the other sleeve soon. Morning, it's just about 6 a.m. and I'm ready to get the day started. Yesterday I did end up taking a nap, and then in the afternoon we ran a lot of errands, as you saw, and I went to Tea Cozy, picked up my next knit, which will be a sample knit, and I'm so excited to get started on that. So I'm going to try to finish this today. I did end up finishing one sleeve, didn't get much more done on that other than that, and I think I said I did 11 decreases, but I actually did 12 decreases. And on the sleeve, I did 13, so I had to rip back to do the ribbing. And I haven't weaved in the ends yet, but for the ends, what I like to do is, because it's already splitty, I like to then just take the plies and put it out so that, because there are 5 plies, put it to like 2 and 3, and then weave in the ends on either side, just to minimize how much it shows through on the other side, on the right side. I think that it worked well for this sleeve, although for the armpits, you can tell where the ends were kind of woven in. You can tell where there is double fabric compared to not. So it is what it is, but I'm really happy with how this is coming along. I have around 25 grams left of my current ball, so I'll use this to finish the garment, and then I'll use a new ball to start doing the button band, and I'll probably have quite a bit left over. I just finished the second ball of yarn and I didn't do any ribbing yet. I still have to do ribbing. So the second ball took me from here to here. And I think I can start doing the ribbing now. I think it's at a good length. And I'm probably only going to be doing 6 to 7 rounds of ribbing before I do the Italian bind off. And then we'll work on the button band. It's currently around noon. It's just before noon. So I'm still really hoping that I can get this done today. It's currently almost 10, so around 9:45 p.m. and I should be asleep, but I just finished. I couldn't help but add the buttons before I blocked it, and now I'm going to go block it because it's 100% linen. I think it should be fine. I just counted the rows that I had for the buttons and I added it. And this is what it looks like now. So with blocking, I'm hoping that the stitches will become, the tension will become a little bit more even and that it won't look as lumpy. And then also that there will be some growth in length as well as some growth in the arms as well. But even as is, I think it's pretty cute. And I think this turned out really well, even though when you do look up close, I did go down to a 4.5 millimeter with the ribbing, and I like this tension a lot better. So I think if you use the 3 to 4 millimeter needles that are recommended with the rerum, natura, Antigone, then you'll have a lot more success. And in terms of how it looks, I do like how it looks. It's just that the knitting experience maybe wasn't the best for me personally, because it was with such a thin, slippery, slick yarn. It's not super slippery, but it's just more slick than wool would be. And because it was at such a large gauge, I just really had to be cognizant and just be really wary of each stitch so that I didn't drop anything. Even when I was picking up stitches, I had to make sure that things looked a little more clean because you could see where the double fabric would be. And I think it turned out pretty okay. So hopefully it will be dry soon and I can do a final shot. The cardigan has now been blocked, and as you can see, there's plenty of ease in both the arms and the body, and it hits at a really good point, I think, for my mom. And so I'm really happy with how this came out. I know I complained quite a bit about the knitting process, but all in all, I think it was worth it. The stitches did become very even after blocking. And I know that it'll probably get caught on things, but I hope that my mom's able to keep it for a while. I added these buttons and I'm really happy with how they look against this bluish, greenish, grayish color. And I think that overall my mom will be able to get a lot of good wear out of it. I'll put a photo again of what this is supposed to imitate, or what the inspiration was for this garment from what she saw of her friend wearing. And then I think that overall the feel is very similar, even though obviously that one didn't have buttons or anything. And that one, I think it's a ready-made garment. The ribbing and those are all different details, but I think that the feel is pretty similar. This cardigan knit up so quickly, and the large part of it is because of the gauge, of course. I think it had fewer stitches than actually a kid's garment. And also because it fell on a weekend, so I was able to get a lot of help while I was knitting, help with my kids while I was knitting. And and I'm really, overall, I'm very happy with how this has turned out. Thank you again so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, this project vlog, and I will hopefully see you in the next one. I am going to start that project now, so that one probably won't be up for a little bit. This one just was completed so quickly because of the gauge, and I'm really excited to gift this to my mom when she comes next week. And I think that's everything I have for this project vlog. Thank you again. If you can, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.